All right, we are here with some important news with the Chief of Police of Houma, Chief Travis Terrio. I'm sure you have all heard by now that there was a shooting in the city of Houma on February 1st, depending on when you're watching this press release. And Chief, I got to tell you, looking at it, it does become confusing because you got multiple people involved and names are sort of similar.
Right.
So you're like, I had to read it 3 times.
Yeah, you really had to focus to understand what was going on. But yesterday at, shortly before 6 p.m., our units responded to a shooting in the 1100 block of Lafayette Street. When they arrived, they found there was a 14-year-old that was suffering from a gunshot wound to the upper body, and there was also a victim identified as Terrence Scott suffering from a gunshot wound to the upper body. Both of them were transported via ambulance to a local medical facility, and unfortunately, tragically, Terrence Scott died at the hospital as a result of his injury.
Now, this seems to be confusing, but all in all, because one of them held to a higher standard because he is employed, but was this a gun deal going bad, or what do we know?
So right now, what we know is Terrence Sims was an employee at the Juvenile Justice Complex as a juvenile care associate, is what they're called. And
what is that?
I guess they're the ones that have the direct control of the juveniles that are
custodian of them,
something like that in the detention center. Mm-hmm. And while there, Sims befriended the 14-year-old that was on the scene of the shooting. So they over the last few days, after the 14-year-old had been released from the facility, they negotiated the sale of a firearm. Mm-hmm. The location was agreed upon to sell the firearm, which was in the 1100 block of Lafayette Street, and they met at that location. At some point in the deal, not exactly sure what the intention was, what the motive was, or where things actually went wrong, because you do have two sides, but we do know that all parties involved brandished a firearm at some point in this whole deal. There was an exchange of gunfire between the 3 of them. In the process, everyone was struck at least once, whether it was a graze, a fatal injury, or somewhat of a serious injury that he's expected to recover from. The investigation continued and ultimately resulted in 2 arrests. The arrest of Terrence Sims was for 1 count of second-degree murder and 1 count of attempted second-degree murder. Mm-hmm. The 14-year-old was arrested for 1 count of attempted second-degree murder for shooting at Mr. Sims, mm-hmm. right? Because of the tie-in to the Juvenile Justice Center, he is being housed in an out-of-parish facility.
Okay. Well, I guess what's troublesome to me reading it, you have talked about this many a time, what is a 14-year-old in a gun deal?
Right.
Isn't that, therein lies the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you have an adult that's facilitating it.
Correct.
We have to be better than that. Mm-hmm. We have to do better.
And it's supposedly a responsible adult, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be held to a higher standard.
Yeah, and look, anybody that's caring for kids is always held to a higher standard. A parent is held to a higher standard. Anybody that cares for a child is being held to a higher standard. It's our responsibility to be good role models, not facilitators for crime.
But I guess it just brings us back to the fact, full circle, that in today's society, just because you have a position of authority, everybody has to keep checking people to make sure there's checks and balances, because, sometimes you see a little sign here or there, but sometimes, as the chief, things just happen out the clear blue that can't be stopped. You never even knew they were coming.
No, you never see it. And one thing, we're not going to uphold somebody that does things like this. Mm-hmm. You do it, we're going to arrest you just like anyone else. Mm-hmm. I have no issue with it. My officers did a great job with it, and This doesn't reflect upon that facility as a whole. That's a great facility.
Not at all.
They run a really, really tight ship there. This reflects on Mr. Terrence Sims. This does not reflect on anyone else other than Terrence Sims, and he's going to be held responsible for whatever happened.
Yeah. Where does it go from here?
So now, it's going to go to the district attorney's office, and ultimately, it's going to go before the court, and it's going to go through the legal process, and the fate will be decided at these individuals involved then.
So does the juvenile get charged? That gets confusing to me, even after doing it for so long. But does a juvenile get charged as an adult? Does that all depend on the court system?
So that's left up to the district attorney's office. There's a lot of things that factor in: the violence of the crime, what happened as a result of the crime, what type of history does the offender have a violent history in the past, and Mr. Waste has done a great job with it before of the teenagers that want to be adults, and he's gonna hold them accountable.
Yeah, well, Chief, thank you for holding people accountable. We appreciate it. We know you're very busy, Mardi Gras kicking off, so we didn't need this to lead into Mardi Gras, but you do a great job, so do your officers. Thank you very much. Y'all have a safe Mardi Gras.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. We're going to have more coming up on Bayou Time on parade changes and everything. We have the parish president and the sheriff. Don't go away.